Hi, Graceful family. My name is Yvonne Princess Shabangu. You're welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, you're welcome to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And voila, you're part of the beautiful, the positive, the wonderful, the faithful, and love-filled family, the Graceful family. All right? So don't forget to do what you gotta do. So today we are going to talk about, take a guess. I know in general you guys always expect this quick hacks of doing something, and I feel like I'm not giving you guys that because that's not how it works. We work with standard procedure, we believe in patience and going through stuff, So yeah, without further ado, so today we are going to talk about what to expect as a candidate attorney, as a CA. Not the CA, the accountant, chartered accountant. No, the CA for candidate attorneys, right? Yeah. So we're going to talk about what to expect as a candidate attorney, or what to expect during your 2 years of articles of clerkship, right? So let's go through it. Most of you are going to wonder, because I know some people that are not in law watch my videos. You're going to wonder, what is a candidate attorney? What is this? How do you get there? What do you do, right? In brief summary, you do your LLB, and then you do your 2 years of articles. I know before you were allowed to do your articles with your BA, and then you do the 5-year program and stuff like that. But now you have to complete your LLB before you do your articles, right? So the common roots of being in the legal profession, the common roots are being an advocate and being an attorney. So if you were to be an advocate, obviously you go through the pupillage route, which is like 1 year of pupillage, and then your advocacy exams, and then voila, you're an advocate. And then you've got your attorney. If you want to be an attorney, it's your LLB, and then 2 years of articles and PLT and 4 board exams, and voila, you're an attorney, right? So different procedures, same profession, different procedures, different positions, right? So today we're going to talk about being a candidate attorney. What to expect, what's going to happen. I'm in my second year. Okay, not my second year yet, but I've been a CA for the past 10 months. So a lot of people kept on asking me, how was your first week? How was it being a CA? And I couldn't say much because I felt like I didn't have content. But now I've experienced my own journey. I have content. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned. And then also, because this video is going to be like in 2 parts, my experience and then what I can give to you, right? And then the last part, like briefly and shortly, I'm going to give you tips and pointers from people that are becoming associates this year on what worked for them or what made them better candidate attorneys, right? So now that we have this out of the way, what is a CA? You know what's a CA. If you want to be an attorney, you go the CA route. So it's like your LLB. From LLB, it's 2 years of articles. Some people do 1 year. I know you have an option of doing 1 year if you did like full-time law school, right? But normally people do your 2 years, and then during the 2 years, you do your PLT, and then you also write your 4 board exams, and then you become an attorney, right? So basically, you're training to be an attorney. In those 2 years, some people rotate like 6 months. Every 6 months they rotate. Some people rotate every year. In my firm, we rotate every year, not every 6 months, right? And then also there's different categories of law firms. You've got big firms, you've got medium firms, you've got small firms, right? I don't know why they say big, small, medium, because I mean it is what it is in the same profession, but I guess also the kind of clients they have, the amount of money they make, the amount of the number of employees they have also determines whether they're big or small or whatever the case may be. In a logical sense, I work for a small firm, but because I'm a firm believer of faith, I'll tell you something. My firm, maybe you don't know it yet, but it's definitely a big firm. I know I'm saying what I'm saying. We'll come back to this video and then we're like, okay, we get what you're saying. But yeah, I work for a Black-owned law firm. Beautiful. I love how it's small and how it's a few of us. You get to learn as much as you can, and you can't hide behind anyone. You get to account and all of that. So I love that about my firm. So yeah, that's where it's at right now, and I know we're going to places, right? And then so we specialize in litigation, we specialize in commercial law, and we also specialize in entertainment law, right? So currently I'm in the litigation department. So yeah, I'm also gonna, then this is the gist of the video, right? I'm gonna take you through what you must expect, what you're gonna do, especially if you're in the litigation department, right? So like in a general sense, as a CA, you're going to do court work. You're going to go to court file, get trial dates, and then you're going to draft. You're going to administer files, right? So obviously with courts, let me start. I wrote some notes, so I just didn't want to forget some things, but I wrote some notes. So let's start with courts, right? You're going to have to ensure that anything that needs filing is filed, and it's filed on time according to the rules of or the rules of that particular court. So you've got your magistrate court rules, you've got your superior court's rules and stuff like that. So you have to ensure that everything is filed on time, because obviously as we exchange documents, papers and all of that, they all need to end up in the court file that the court has. You know, you need to have like your own file that matches the court file. So that becomes what? File administration, right? And then also another thing, whatever you do, don't go to court after 12. Any court work you have, and I know some people have the option to say, oh no, it's not closed, it's open all day. But one thing I'll tell you, to avoid any mess ups or any dramas or whatever the case may be in court in the morning at 8 o'clock. Whether you are appearing, whether you are filing, just do whatever you have to do in the morning. You know, because most of the time, if you go to court after 12, you're going to be in trouble. You might not be able to do what you're supposed to do. So at least if you go in the morning, and at least some of us are fortunate, we have a messenger. We only go to court for filing and stuff every now and then if it's urgent. But I know some people don't have that privilege. You have to go to court, you have to go and file, you have to go get trial dates, you have to do everything yourself, right? Which is a good thing, because also you get an extra bonus of an experience and a skill, because you become more organized, you are able to keep your time, you're able to be disciplined and stuff like that, right? So that's what you'll possibly be doing in court, like filing and ensuring that the court file is in order before you even appear or before the matter goes to trial and all of that, right? And then secondly, you might be in court appearing, right? If you are appearing in court, guys, whatever you do, always be in court, like at least at 8. Normally court starts at 9, some 10 and stuff like that, but be there at 8. I'll tell you why. Firstly, sometimes you find that there's this long queue. A lot is going on outside courts. I know, like with Rambag Match Court, like there's a lot of people usually on Monday. So you don't want to get there at 10 to 9 and you're trying to enter and already you're panicking and you've got so much anxiety and all of that. So at least if you're there, even at 10 to 8, you're able to wait in the queue if there's one. If there isn't a queue, you gladly enter. And then another thing, it allows you to have an opportunity to introduce yourself to the magistrate. You know, that's one thing you should do. Before anything, go to the magistrate, introduce yourself. My name is so and so. I'm currently doing my articles. I am new in this. This is my first time experience. This is my first time appearance. And then another thing, always have your right of appearance. They're not always going to ask it, right? Ask for it. But always have it with you just in case they ask for it. Because, you need to show that you're allowed to actually appear in that particular court, because as you know, there's different hierarchies in law. So I can't just appear. I can't appear at the High Court. I can't appear at the regional court as yet. I can only appear in the Match Court, you know. So the magistrate might need to know whether I'm legally before her or him, right? So always have your rights of appearance, and also always have your ID when you go to court, right? Because sometimes they'll ask you for your ID, the next thing you don't have it, the next thing you have to go back home and stuff like that. So it's always important that you're on time, you introduce yourself. And how introducing yourself benefits you. If you've told the magistrate that you are new and this is your first time, if you do some odd stuff there, they're probably going to be lenient with you, right? And then secondly, despite introducing yourself before the whole proceedings start, right? When you get to the courtroom, you don't just sit, you know. It's like, you don't address your magistrate as your as say madam and all of that, you know. You have to say my lady, your honor, your worship. In the Match Court, it's your worship. In the High Court, it's your honor. You know, get familiar, you know. Yes, get familiar with which words you need to use and where you need to use them. And then when you address the magistrate, you stand up. Hi, good morning, your worship. Before you is Yvonne Princess Shabangu. I appear on behalf of the applicant if it pleases the court, may I take my set, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, just work around that, right? Introduce yourself accordingly and just be calm, right? That's for your court stuff, right? Because if you're in the litigation department, you're going to go to court quite a lot. You're going to frequent the court. So you have to be familiar, be nice to the secretaries at court, make friends in court, guys. And because, I mean, in as much as we work for different law firms, you might need precedents, you might need to know what needs to be done, how it needs to be done. And if you have other friends that have done it before, they're able to sort of help you out or illustrate. So you can't do it in law if you are a one-man, like you can't. You know, you can't be an island. You can't be an island if you're going to be in law. You have to make friends. You have to network. Sometimes they don't even have to be your friends, but just be civil. Greet, be kind, be respectful, right? That's going to work for you. And then besides the court stuff, what you do also in the litigation department, you're going to draft quite a lot, right? Quite a lot. You're going to draft notices, you're going to draft applications, you're going to draft summons, you're going to draft a lot, right? And because it's CA levels, right, most of the time, depending on how your directors, your principals trust you and stuff like that, most of the time you are going to draft like your notice of intention to defend, particulars of claim, letters of demand, summons, a replication. So it depends with the intensity of the matter and the level of trust your principal has for you. But obviously they're not just going to throw you in the deep end. Obviously they will like sort of see your progress and how far you are and what they can give you and what not to give you, right? So yeah, you're going to do a lot of drafting, and with that we have a lot of precedents, right? And I'm sure a lot of people are like, yay, I have a lot of precedents and yeah, it's gonna work in my favor, right? The mistake I did, like I think within the first month or two of my articles, I'd always just take precedents, edit names and stuff like that, right? But that's the worst thing you can do to yourself, you know? In as much as you have a precedent, go to the rules, go to the practice directive, go to the practice manual, so that you are drafting something that is aligned with what you're supposed to do. Because remember, rules change. I can take a precedent maybe from 2010. You find out that a rule has changed. If I take copy and paste, then it means I'll give to my boss something that's outdated, something that is not in alignment with the current rules and stuff like that. So it's always important to read your rules and ensure that you're reading the right rules, right? And then don't just copy and paste. Have 3 different kind of precedents and they have the most recent precedents. So there's a trick that my boss recently taught me, right? He said to me, if I give you an instruction, maybe it's a divorce whereby maybe there are no children or they have children. Look for cases that have the similar set of facts. Read on those cases so that you're familiar. So basically research as much as you can. Whatever you do, whenever you get an instruction, research. And another thing, some principals believe in memos, some don't. Like my principals, they don't do memos. They send you an email, hi Yvonne, please do ABCD. If you don't have any understanding, hey, this is what's supposed to do, right? And then also you need to be able to think on your feet, right? It's like a thing of they're not gonna spoon feed you, you know. It's a thing of, hey, we've drafted our notice of intention to defend. Now we have 20 days to actually file our plea. So if you think on your feet, you need to actually start drafting a plea and then go give it to your boss. They have a look, they edit where they need to, they adjust, they help you out and all of that. And then also you need to keep a diary, because obviously in litigation we work with days and you need to get your days right. Because if you don't get your days right, it becomes problematic, because you might appear in court late or you might submit things late and it might cost your client quite a lot, you know. So you don't have to be in positions where you are barred and stuff like that. Just keep your diary, just have a notebook, right? And ask, understand an instruction. Because I figured the first few months of my articles, one of the things that I struggled with wasn't that I didn't know how to do the things. It was a thing of I didn't understand what was required of me, and I was afraid to ask, and I was just like, okay, this makes me stupid. But as time went on, my bosses made me feel comfortable to actually say, hey, you can make mistakes, it's okay, ask. If I say draft this and you're not familiar, you've never heard of it, you can always come back to me. You don't have to copy and paste something you don't understand from precedents. Come back to me, I'll explain to you, and then we'll have a good relationship, right? And then, like I said, so you're going to do a lot of court filing, court appearances, and then you're going to do a lot of drafting, different kind of documents, and then you're going to do some consultations. Like I said, it depends on the structure of the law firm that you're in. Some CAs are not allowed to sit in consultations. I get to sit in all consultations with my principals. I'm there, gotta give PA nyana, so I'm there. I get to sit in all the consultations. I get to administer a file to ensure that every single thing is inside a file. How far are we going? Because also, if you don't have a file that's properly administered, you can't keep track of what's happening with the matter, and by the time you appear, you're totally confused. So if you have a file that like has everything, like your client file, if you issue summons, put them in. If you if they send their notice of intention to defend, put it in. If they send their plea, put it in. You send whatever, put it in. Everything must be in one bundle, a bundle that is orderly, And then another thing that we all hate, like, I know you guys are going to be like, I love it because we all hate this. Paginating, guys. You are going to paginate and paginate and paginate. You are so going to paginate. As a candidate attorney, you're going to paginate. You are going to punch documents. You are going to index documents. You're so going to do that, right? And some people are fortunate that their matters are not as voluminous, and some people are unfortunate. They're very voluminous. You find that you have to paginate like bundles that are like 1,000 pages. You're gonna have to do it, right? And then there are some apps, like some people taught me like different kind of tricks and hacks that we can use. So after this video, sometime along the way, I am going to share all the apps that you're going to need as a candidate attorney to make your admin work much easier, right? But yeah, you're going to paginate quite a lot, and with pagination, you can't afford to make mistakes, right? So you have to be attentive, you have to be present, because once you make mistakes, you need to keep tip-hexing, and that's the worst thing ever. Imagine realizing that you made a mistake after paginating 800 pages, and then you find out that the mistake starts from number 10. So which means anything going down below is actually wrong, and it means that you have to renumber it or repaginate it. So yeah, you're going to paginate quite a lot, and you're going to have to find ways and hacks and tricks to ensure that your pagination is good, your indexing is good, your file is in a good condition, right? So yeah. And then okay, like I said, also guys, you're going to have to read quite a lot. You're going to have to read, like I said, you're going to have to read your practice manual, your practice directive. You're going to have to read cases with similar set of facts. Then you know what's next, right? And then some principals will not tell you, okay, we've issued a notice of intention to defend, let's do a plea. You're going to have to show initiative. You're going to have to show that you're present and you're able to manage the case. You are the one who's supposed to go and say, actually, these people, time has lapsed. They have not submitted their notice of intention to defend. Okay, time has lapsed. They haven't done our plea. Let's bar them, or let's do A, B, C, D, right? And I feel like when you show some sense of initiative or some sense of research or good quality work, your principal becomes like, it makes it easy for them to teach you. Because I know that I have the privilege of 3 principals, right? But now I only have 2 principals. So they all have different styles, and in those different styles I have to adjust, right? That's the nice thing about having more principal. It's difficult, but you become a versatile individual, because different leadership styles, different ways of doing things, so you get to learn more, right? So I realized that with all my principals, they have different styles of doing things, and when I show initiative that I want to learn, and when I show in my work that I've done my research and all of that, they're always happy, and they're always impressed in that they even want to teach me more. They were like, okay, this is so impressive. Have you ever checked out the case that is such? But when I'm just quiet, not doing any research, not doing anything, they're like, oh, this is a game that you want to play. You want to wait for memos? Okay. All we'll do is give you memos. And it becomes really sad if you're just living on memos, which means it's like you are using a study guide to actually do your articles, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So you have to show some sense of I want to learn, right? And another thing, guys, I'll tell you something. Being a CA, I won't say it's hard, and I've heard a lot of people say being a CA is hard and stuff like that, and I think I've been part of those people. I am guilty of that, but just coming back to the reality, it's not hard. You just need to know what works for you, navigate around it, like for instance, some bosses may lash out at you, and not because they hate you. They're not attacking you. It's not an attack against personality. It's going to be an attack against the situation, right? You can draft something and then you keep quiet with it maybe for 30 days, and then on the day supposed to go out, then you rock up and be like, here it is, and then you find that you didn't do the right document or the right drafting, and then your boss is mad. They lash out at you or they shout at you and stuff like that, and then you don't have to take it personal. You're going to have to be emotionally intelligent, because if you are not emotionally intelligent, your mental health is going to be at stake. So you would need to understand that a lot of these things are not attacks against you. It's not personal vendettas. It's just a matter of, this is how things are done. In this situation, this is how I expect you to respond, or this is how I'd like you to respond. So you're going to get a lot of shouting, a lot of not impressed, a lot of reprimanding emails and stuff like that. You're gonna get that, and it doesn't make you a bad person. Also, it doesn't mean you need to relax and be like, okay, it's whatever, this person's just doing their job. But you just need to understand that it's not an attack against you, so you're gonna need to be very emotionally intelligent, right? Yeah, that's what's up. And then like I said, you're also gonna sit in consultations. You're gonna sit in a number of consultations depending on how your law firm works, depending on the kind of law firm that you work for, right? And then right, and then so what I did was, I think this is the second. So you're gonna have to be humble. Meaning you respect everyone around you, from the cleaners, from the tea lady, from the secretaries, and your seniors, because people that have been there before, how people prefer things done. So be that person who wants to ask, find out what's going on. Like I said, top notch. Be willing to learn and understand that you'll make a million mistakes, and don't limit yourself. There's one of my former principal, Zanele Ngakane, would always say, don't be afraid. Give me what you think. Don't just, if I say draft a particulars of claim and I give you ideas, and then you take my ideas and paste them, and then you give me back. No, make your mistakes. Show me what you think, your opinion and stuff like that. If I don't like your writing style, I'll let you know. But don't hold back and be like, oh my God, it needs to be that way. It needs to be so perfect. Do your research. Do what you think is right, and then bring it to me so that I can see where you are also at mine. Because when you copy and paste people's ideas, you're playing yourself, because it's like your principal doesn't know where you're lacking and where you have strengths, right? So yeah, be willing to learn, be respectful, be humble, be emotionally intelligent, and manage your time wisely, because in law we work with time. So in law, the phrase time is money. Literally, in law, it's a literal sense. So for every work you do, you bill. For every time you waste, you're losing money. So any time wasted in law is money lost. So no one wants to lose money. So you need to manage your time. Always have something to write on, or have a dicta or something like that. Just record things that you need to do. If it's a consultation, if you're allowed to record, so that even when you get home, you actually are able to listen to it from a client's perspective, and then you're able to note down how things are supposed to be done, right? So and be friendly, guys. Nothing beats being friendly, and chances are you're gonna feel less important at some point, because a lot of law firms protect their clients. They're not just going to give you work, but you're going to have to show some sense of initiative to say, hey, you can trust me with this client. You can actually trust me with this work. I'm able to do it, So I'm very fortunate and grateful that I work for a law firm that believes in me, or believes in their kind of attorneys so much that it's like, you get your client. I remember I had my client in the first month, and it was like, you trust me with this person with so much money involved and stuff like that. But it's like, I'm trying to teach you, because you don't get to learn if you don't do the work, right? So yeah, and that's the first part. So you guys heard, you're gonna have to go to court, draft, manage your time, consult, and you're going to have to be respectful, you're going to have to be humble, you're going to have to be kind, you have to be willing to learn, you have to ask, right? So yeah, that's just about it. And then, like I said, you have to, like, it's in bold, you have to be emotionally intelligent. Not everything is about you. Some things have nothing to do with you. It's just a matter of the situation, the work we're faced with, the deadline we need to meet. It's not a you thing to say, oh no, you're not smart enough, or whatever the case may be. So your EQ has to be on steroids, right? And your work ethic must be a lot. You must always be willing to go beyond and above and position yourself. Find out what you can do well, what you can't do well. There's something a friend of mine, Frank, said that if you don't know yourself, you can't position yourself. So if you're not familiar with who you are or your strengths and weaknesses, you won't be able to fit in well, or actually see what your law firm can do for you, or what you can do for it through your strengths, or what they can teach you, you know. So position yourself, find out what you can do well, what you can't do well, and work on your weaknesses and maximize on your strengths, right? Just because you're good at, like I always say, I want to go to speaking lessons, right? A lot of people would be like, oh my God, you're already a good speaker and stuff like that. I'm like, that's the thing. Never cap your gift or what you're great at. It can always be better. You know, you can always do better. So once you become a CA and you figure out, I'm a great litigator, it doesn't mean you have to take advantage and not practice. You need to practice, find more ways to make yourself greater and better, right? So the second part of the video would be the most interesting part, you know, like, because I love you guys and I want what's best for you. I asked about 3 of my friends that are becoming associate this year to give me like each 2 tips that actually made them candidate attorneys that stood out. So these can work for you. So basically you're going to have 6 tips that will make you a better candidate attorney. But before I go there, I need you to always remember there's something that God has bestowed in you that will make you a lawyer, a good lawyer. Something I don't have, something that my friends don't have, but only you have. And it takes you to discover that. So when you go on this journey of being a candidate attorney, be open-minded. I'll give you these tips, apply them, but also discover what makes you an amazing lawyer. Discover why you are called into that field. Discover why you are there. And trust me, you may say, oh no, I don't know anything. I graduated with my 50% or whatever the case may be. The fact that you're in that law firm as a candidate attorney, it means there's something in you and only you can discover it. And for you to discover it, you have to continuously try new things, continuously push yourself, like push yourself beyond limits and continuously do better, right? So always know these are the tips that I got for my friends. These are some of my tips as well, but also focus on your journey. Be open-minded. Figure out what makes you a great lawyer. If 100 lawyers were to stand here and they each had to say one thing that other lawyers don't possess, what would you say? And there is something, trust me. Yes, there is like your general basic things that every lawyer maybe must possess or whatever, but there is one thing that maybe it's in the way you speak, maybe it's in the way you attend to clients, maybe it's in the way you negotiate, maybe it's in the way you draft, maybe, you know, just find it out. You will see that there is something special about you. That's why you are where you are, right? So let's go to the first person, right? So the first 2 tips are from, I wrote them down. They're from a person who became like a sister to me. She's very inspiring and she's done so well for herself. So this is from Juliet Siwela, right? We also studied together. At some point she was my tutor. Okay, not my personal tutor, but at the time she used to tutor. So I was always able to ask her things and stuff like that and all of that. So yes, these are 2 tips from her. Tip number 1, stay away from stay away from office gossip, guys. Stay away. And when I asked her to give me these tips, and when she said number 1, stay away from office gossip, I was like, this is an interesting one. Often do we want to be in people's businesses and we want to know too much? As a candidate attorney, don't do that. Focus on why you are there. You're there to learn, you're there to grow, you're there to do what you gotta do. So yeah, stay away from office gossip, because one or another it might end up zisaleng. The next thing, you are the bad person because you want to know everyone's business. So stay away from office gossip. It will do you good. And then number 2, she says, focus on acquiring skills rather than being retained. Like I also felt that. many other times, even when I think I was in my final year, a lot of people have conversations around retention and all of that. They would have conversation around, I want to be this, I want to be retained in the firm. What happens if I don't get returned? I'm afraid to get a car. I'm afraid to do this and all of that, because what if they don't return me? And here, Juliet gives you word of advice. And like I was saying, here's word of advice from Juliet. Do not focus on retention. If you get retained, God bless you. We thank God for your life. We celebrate. We chop life and enjoyment. If you don't get retained, it's fine also. As long as you've acquired the skills that you need, besides being a good lawyer, but just being a better and a greater individual or young professional. Because sometimes this article's journey, it's not even about you being made a great lawyer. Sometimes it's God building your character for being an entrepreneur, your character for working in corporate companies, your character for starting up your own thing. So yes, you want to be an amazing lawyer, but also let this journey make you a better person altogether. When you leave the firm you work for, or as you grow in the firm you work for, ensure that your aim is being a better individual, not just getting retained, okay? And then she also says, also focus on networking. You will be surprised the amount of business connections you will make, or rather general connections you will make by the time you are done with your articles. Like, I believe this. When you work and do your articles, you meet different clients, you meet different people with different needs. And when you are networking with these people, when you're doing their work properly, they also want to find out your interests. You may never know. Maybe your future lies with that one particular client, and then the next thing, you do your work well, you're networking and everything like that. You keep in touch, and 20 years down the line, you may need to work for their company, or you may need to partner with them. You'll be able to do that because you now have bases. You've touched base, So it's always important to network. In everything you do, network. If you go to seminars, don't leave there without business cards. If you meet clients, you might not be able to keep those clients or return those clients, but keep business cards, because also I think in law, people remember the services you offered to them, or how you treated them, or how you made them feel. Any law firm can draft any document and stuff like that, but are your clients happy with you? Are they able to actually say, you know what, I may have not afforded that particular law firm, but on any day, I can recommend it to another person because Yvonne was such a good person, because Yvonne had such a great character, because Yvonne handled my matters so well and stuff like that. Because clients don't forget also. People don't forget. They'll always remember you for every single thing you've taught them, or everything, or however you've made them feel, or the services you've offered them. So network, Bahlali, network. And then, she also goes on to say business. Through the networking, you can make business connections that can take you far, that can make your future brighter. So stay away from office gossip. Don't focus on retention. Acquire the skill. Network. You will never know where this networking or business connections you would have made will take you. So this is from Juliet. And then we also have some 2 tips from Patisizwe Lionel. He says, personally, what made him a candidate attorney that stood out was the fact that he was organized. Guys, I think it was such an alignment. Last week Friday, I posted a video whereby I was talking about setting goals, being organized, planning, and all of that. And then he goes on to say, by being organized, he also includes just keeping a planner, keeping a diary, running an organized diary. So like I said, with litigation, it's a lot of days, it's a lot of procedures and stuff like that. So you will need to write those things down, because you can't keep all of them in your head. Because if you don't write them down, you may forget, and it messes up the whole procedure. So be organized. Buy yourself a diary, buy yourself a planner, note things down. That's for being a CA, but I also think this helps in general in your life. Just plan, get yourself a diary, plan, or journal, whatever you gotta do, but plan and organize everything you need to do. And then he said also, tip number 2, understanding your matter. I think I also touched on this. Understanding your matter, which means that understand what is required of you. Once you understand what is required of you, do some research on it, read up on it. If you have questions that you don't understand, then go back to the person that gave you instruction and ask them to say, actually, I've done research, I've done this. I am not understanding. Please help me out. And they'll be able to help you out. Even asking your colleagues, your senior colleagues, that is why you must also be humble, be respectful, and just be generally kind, because people will be able to easily help you out. Unlike a person who's like, I know it all, I'm a cum laude student. Cum laude distinctions, they don't work in practice. Forget it. It has secured you the job. Now we're starting from all over. You can apply your intrapersonal skills and all of that, but forget about your accolades. They were that then, but now we're in a different chapter. So be open to learn, be open for new achievements. I get it, guys. And then Frank said something, just work hard, right? He said work hard. So when he said work hard, I was like, okay, am I supposed to put in 18 hours? And he said, when I say work hard, I'm saying go an extra mile. Sometimes we misinterpret working hard for hard labor, toxic hours and stuff like that. But we came to a conclusion to say working hard means going beyond and above. Just because a person gave you a precedent for particulars of claim and told you what they needed in it, it doesn't mean that's all. You have to take initiative and research further and look at other particulars of claims and read up the rules and actually take it beyond and more. Read cases relating to what you're doing. That's what hard work means. Not like stiff hard work where you are not productive, but hard work where you're efficient, you're effective, and you're productive. So it's going to require you to do research. It's going to require you to do some days you're going to have to put in more hours. You find out that you knock out, like we always say we work 9 to 5, but in the legal fraternity, that's an illusion, because if you work 9 to 5, then I don't know how all clients will be satisfied. So I'd say most of the time 6, 7, some people take it to 9, midnight, they pull all-nighters and stuff like that. So you will need to actually figure out what works for you, but you have to go beyond. Don't be complacent or be in a comfort zone whereby standard procedure, notice of intention to defend, copy and paste, and we move. No, go beyond. Find out how can you make a notice of intention to defend better than how they normally draft. How can you do it quicker and faster than how it's normally done, and efficiently so, So yeah, work hard, right? And then he also said, understand something. This is a new role, right? And it's going to give you discomfort, right? And this discomfort does not mean you're failing. This discomfort comes from, I'm new. I'm struggling to fit in. I'm not familiar. I don't know what to do. But like I said, this is where willingness to learn comes in. This is where asking comes in. This is where you understand that it's okay to make mistakes, but from those mistakes, you got to learn. This is where you need to actually pull yourself up and be like, you know what? I don't know this and it's fine. Let me just go and ask, So there's going to be tricky seasons whereby it's like, oh my God, I don't know anything. I don't know what to do and all of that. I'm a failure and all of. You're not a failure. You are not a failure. You are learning. You're transitioning into a new season of your life. And every transition is uncomfortable. It even goes back to humanity, growth and development. Have you seen how many times a child falls before they start walking? They start from crawling. Crawling is uncomfortable, guys, but they do it, From crawling, they start walking and falling. That's the most uncomfortable thing ever, but they go through it. Goes back to teething. For them to be able to have their teeth, they must teeth. Teething is uncomfortable. They get agitated, but one of the top tier things that goes down there is resilience. They are resilient, as a child. That's why I love children, because children always give me that thing. I want to learn. It doesn't matter. No one is, even if 50 million people are looking, I don't have to worry. I just have to put in my own portion and put in my own work. So also you're going to have to be resilient. Some of the things you're going to fail, some of the things you're going to ace them, but it doesn't mean you stop. There's something I am so sure of this particular 2022. You're just going to have to push and push. If you have to do it 20 times, do it 20 times. Something will give in. Something has to give in. Don't stop pushing, right? Be resilient. Push yourself beyond and more, right? So, and then yeah, I spoke about emotional intelligence. Like, I'm looking at my notes. I spoke about emotional intelligence, and then I also told you guys that there will be one good thing that you're great at, and I can't do, the next person can't do, but only you can do. And you can only discover that particular skill, expertise, or thing if you allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to learn, and if you're open-minded about this journey, right? So yeah, I don't know if I answered all your questions. If you have any further questions, on the comment section, and also if you have tips to give to new candidate attorneys, on the comment sections. But always remember, you gotta have your diary, you gotta have your pen. Be respectful, be humble, be kind. These things are not against you. It's just situations, and some people may shout, some people may be frustrated, they may be mean to you, or whatever the case may be, but it's not even about you. It's about the work that has to be done. And to those that are starting their articles today, it's Monday, the 10th of January. I know some people started on the 3rd. To those that are starting today and those that started on the 3rd, and your future candidate attorneys that might be watching this video 5 years later, 6 years later, next year, whenever, all the best with this journey. It's not difficult, it's not hard, it's not as scary. We are here. If you want to know anything, ask. DM people on Instagram. I'm queen of DMs, guys. If I see that I'm interested in something that you're doing, I'll DM you and ask, or comment on LinkedIn, on Facebook, ask. Like, I feel like there is an access or a pool of people that are willing to help, as long as you put yourself out there to say, hey, I'm vulnerable. I know being vulnerable is difficult. I'm vulnerable in that I'm not familiar, but can you hold my hand? So always be willing to ask. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I know also there's going to be a stigma surrounding board exams being the most difficult things ever. And yes, I mean, life is hard. A lot of other things are hard. And there's a lot of things that you've done in your life that are hard, but you're going to win. You're going to conquer. And another thing that I would advise, stay away from societal stigmas. I also learned this from Juliet. We're having a conversation about board exams. And then she was like to me, just manage your time properly. And don't listen to a lot of loud voices telling you it's difficult. You're not going to be able to pass all 4. You're not going to be able. Do what you have to do, put in your time, do what you got to do, and you're going to do well. So I'm also telling you, be it you're a law student watching this, be it you're a candidate attorney watching this, aspiring lawyer watching this, manage your time. Stay away from societal stigmas. Do what works for you. Listen to people's experiences. Don't allow people to impose things on you, because my journey, your journey, 2 different things. I can only share my experiences, what worked for me, but it doesn't mean you just have to copy and paste everything I've said. Also, you need to discover what will work for you, what will make you a better lawyer, a better human being, because also at the end of the day, in all our professions, and always remember that you are where you are supposed to be. You are at the right place at the right time. And do not be complacent. Always remember there's room to become better and become more excellent and become greater. Okay, right? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope it was helpful to you, and I really hope that it makes a difference in your life or in your journey as a candidate attorney. Don't forget to be loved, don't forget to be light, and don't forget to be kindness. And don't forget to pray for other people. Okay, all right? God bless you. Thank you so much.